Hey, it's unbelievable. We only just blinked 8 months ago.
Yeah.
You know, when we said Happy New Year. And suddenly we're in September, the very first of the Ember months, reminding us that the year 2022 is fast coming to an end. Wow. So, how was the year for you? How's it been? Helen?
So good, so far, so good.
Yeah, most important to us. How have we been through this program? You know, coping and navigating through life stories, fulfilling our purpose, and impacting the lives of others.
How have we been?
How have we been?
Okay. Now, barely 4 months from now, we will be looking back, counting our gains and perhaps losses. We hope not. And now, who knows what progress we still can make in the remaining days. Surely a lot more can be done in the remaining weeks and months, especially if we work harder on our positive attributes, John, like the talents we have, the giftings, and the skills. So, hello and welcome to the program. This is Today with John and Helen. It's live on PlusTvAfrica, and it's the very first conversation in the month of September. And incidentally, John, September month is my month.
Okay. You jumped in ahead of me.
My name remains Helen
Ogma
Ogma Odeleye, and I'm always so excited that we could do this together every week.
And I'm John Sanaya. It's a great pleasure always to be able to welcome you to another and yet another edition of the Family Focused Talk Show. Today, we plan to enrich our lives with first-class enlightenment, life-saving information, and as usual, of course, an enjoyable 90 solid minutes. So my advice is this: get comfortable, get cozy, and let's do this together.
And again, like I said, I'm excited to get started because our focus area today is on nurturing our genes with the food that we eat. Yeah?
Yep.
And that's a very important area in our life. So stay with us. We'll take a very quick break, and before you know it, we're back. It's Today with John and Helen. Please don't go away.
Yeah, so if you just joined the conversation, you are welcome. This is Today with John and Helen. Now, if we asked you to tell us the 3 most important essentials of life, what would your response be? Not to worry anyhow, we got it covered, as the conversation today will be on one of these essentials in no particular order.
Exactly, John. I'm equally thinking 3 essentials of life. Very interesting. Now, first things first, could we, as quickly as possible, look at our nation, our people, the activities in the last couple of days? Anything worth bringing back to the attention of our viewers this
You
week?
tell me, Helen. I think I'm tired of talking about the same things. ASU has again extended the strike. Now, the children, are they children? Our wards, our children, well, our younger ones, 7 months now, yeah? 8. 7 months at home now. And it's getting scary. And you see, the thing is that, forget about those who are not going to school. There are some of them who are lining up to enter these institutions.
Yeah.
And they also, the backlog is there.
So the equation can never be balanced.
For crying out
it will
loud.
take a lot.
What is the solution? How do we get them back into the classrooms?
But ASU is asking the federal government to plow the money, you know, that we have, well, that they say we are recovering or have recovered from ex-late President Abacha's loot. They're asking the federal government to plow that back into education. And probably that will be,
I don't care where or
they get the money from.
They do.
Something just needs to be done.
Something has to be done. And quite frankly, I still don't see the urgency
it's really frustrating and
so much
annoying
pain.
because the back and forth conversation between government and ASU sometimes really don't make sense. Last week, they were compelling some universities to open up, whether the lecturers were there or not.
Helen,
you know.
I'm sorry, Helen, but can't we talk about this while the children are in school?
I don't know. I'm not in government. we're sideliners.
Is there any other
We're
thing?
just,
Give me good news this time.
good news is that, I mean, I was personally involved because I had a lot of friends who traveled out of the country, and when Emirates suddenly shut Nigeria, you know, out of their route, it was a lot of issue. But thank God, whoever waded into that matter, the federal government, the aviation ministry, the diaspora people, and whatever, thank God Emirates is back on air and our people can come back home through Lagos Airport.
If they can afford it.
Is that good news?
If they can afford it, because airfares have gone through the roof.
No, but they have booked now. It's a return ticket and they're not.
Travel too.
But we're talking about this one.
I'm hoping that one day I'll be able to travel. But I saw the fares to the US.
Yes.
My goodness, 6
okay.
million. I could use that to buy a flat.
But something that's really worrying me now, you know, John, is that there's been a lot of hostility, you know, towards women. This week, we have had 2 women stoned, tortured to death somewhere in the east. One was lucky to have been saved, if I can use that word, by the wife of one of the governors. And what was their crime? Just allegation that they're probably witches. Why is it only women who are being targeted as, you know, wizards and what?
You know, there'll be
and
witches.
then jungle justice? Yeah, whichever. Jungle justice? No. And it's more against the women folk. Why?
I think it's just a reflection of the general, you know,
No, but lack of information.
We are in.
Are we angry? We're angry and we're angry at ourselves.
We are angry people. Yes, we are. Helen, could we start the program? Please?
Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Let's continue. So, you know, we sit down here every week and we talk about this thing. Sometimes we laugh. Sometimes we do not laugh. You know, there are things that really, really hurt. And it hurts more when you're unable to do something about it. And so we just keep talking about them and ask those who can do something about these issues to please, you know, wade in. Let's have a more civilized environment and safe environment.
Right.
All right, so back to the moment. If you ask me, I will say that being healthy is the single most important part of our existence. Without good health, our lives could be miserable and worse still, cut short. We know that health and well-being are linked closely with feeding our bodies with good nutrients. Food providing the much-needed balanced diet. So, to our topic today, simply nutrition and health.
Well, yes, all right there, Helen. A healthy diet and good nutrition throughout life promotes healthy pregnancy outcomes, supports normal growth, development, and aging, and it reduces the risk of chronic diseases, thereby providing us with overall good health and well-being.
And we are so blessed this morning. We caught a big fish, an expert in the nutrition and wellness business. He's a medical doctor and chief executive officer, founder of the Nutrition Hospital and Wellness Center here in Lagos. Dr. Patrick Ijewere is here to deal with all our queries and concerns as it, you know, relates to this topic.
It would be nice to let you know also that Dr. Patrick Ijewere is a man of many parts. He's a team player who is set on transforming healthcare in Africa, concentrating on the prevention and reversal of chronic degenerative diseases. After 15 years in the USA, where he obtained the necessary medical qualifications as well as practical experience and exposure, he returned to Nigeria in 2008 to impact healthcare.
Dr. Patrick Ijewere is our guest, and he's also a medical broadcaster. We're excited to welcome Dr. Patrick Ijewere to Today with John and Helen. I read your CV, and you're doing 101 things as a medical doctor, and I'm like, wow. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Good to see you.
Good morning, JS.
And yeah, it's absolutely a pleasure to have you, Doctor. Today, I'm not sure we've dealt with nutrition
No, we haven't.
the way we should. So
Yes.
I'm singularly honored to have you as our guest on this show. I'll dive in straight because nutrition is like the backbone of our being. So daily we are faced with nutrition choices, sometimes complementary and other times conflicting. So how do we figure out what's right and what's junk?
Thank you, JS, if I may call it.
Is that a good place to start?
It is.
Okay.
What is junk and what is not junk?
Yes.
Let's take a step back. This thing we call food, nutrition, what's its purpose? It's to enhance our journey here on earth, keep us alive from day to day.
Yeah.
All right? Often I will give answers from 2 or 3 different perspectives. Let's look at the biblical perspective. When God created man, where did God put man?
In the garden.
And what's in the garden?
The greens, plenty food.
And that was perfection. That was paradise. Everything we needed was there. So that's food. Anything beyond that, begin to ask, is that food? Okay? If you stay close to the garden, you'll find that this machine, this hardware, works optimally.
Okay.
So the closer it is to Mother Nature, the more it is food, the more it is real food. The further it is from the Garden of Eden, Mother Nature, the more it is junk.
Junk. Okay.
So that's biblical.
Now, I will give you a statement I've come to use often based on experience. And this applies to our food also. The further you stray away from Mother Nature, the sooner she says, return to sender. The further you stray away from Mother Nature, including nutrition, the sooner she says, return to sender. Let's look at it from a scientific perspective.
Yeah.
You have the so-called macronutrients and the so-called micronutrients. The body needs all of it. The macro ones are your proteins, your carbohydrates, your fats and oils. The micro ones, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, and the like. They all work together to give us health.
So,
Well-being.
simply put, anything outside the garden is junk.
The further away from the garden
Further away
it is,
from from
junkier it
nature.
gets.
exactly.
Okay,
Okay.
we'll hold on to that for now.
Hold on to that.
Everywhere we turn, doctor, we have nutritionists. From our parents to our workmates, on television, on radio. As we play around, we have one expert or another, it's giving us suggestions on how to improve our health through nutrition and diet. Now, how do we choose who has the right information and who we should believe?
That's a tough one. We have a society for nutritionists, dietitians. Is there a formal structure that requires professional certification, professional licensure? Here in Lagos or within Nigeria, not as clear yet as the medical field. If you want to be a dentist, you have to register with, medical dental council and make sure you have met all the criteria to achieve that licensure. In the field of nutrition, that ought to occur in a very clear, both at federal or even at the state level. That will give us some credibility as to who is truly qualified to be a nutritionist. There are always folks who learn, they just love knowledge and they'll read a lot and they'll know even more than the so-called licensed folks. So listen to what they're saying, listen to an array of opinions, and see who can give you some degree of clarity or sequence or order in how they approach the analysis of the situation. Comparable example, in the medical field, you have a health issue. We take a step back and ask, what happened? When did it happen? How long? What are the associated symptoms? What makes it worse? What makes it better? to understand where you are in the health at that point in time. Then we do some investigations after we've examined you. So if you talk to a nutritionist and they just blurt out, well, do you want to take this? Take a step back. They need to ask you questions. What have you been eating? What have you not been eaten? How is it prepared? Where is it coming from? Is it an organic farm or the chemically sprayed farms? Because all those things factor into the quality of food that goes into your hardware.
But my grandmother did very well without knowing all of these things.
Awesome. My great-grandmother, I was privileged to meet her. Our best calculations was about 110 years of age. This lady, we would watch her when we were little kids. I would go to the village about 3 times a year. Wake up in the morning, always the first to wake up. Get the broom and she would sweep. That was her favorite activity.
Okay.
After sweeping, goes to the backyard, gets the fire going to prepare something. Goes in, takes a shower, gets a basket, and she's off to the market at age 110. At that age, she could still play Ludo and argue with the grandchildren. And the great-grandchildren like myself. And still discipline us.
Yes.
What did she eat? Mostly fresh items from the garden. That was not too far from the compound. Or she got freshly from the marketplace.
Yeah.
The village was a fresh environment.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All right.
So she don't need the degrees and the licensures. She was living in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Okay, before we stray from that Garden of Eden and closer to nature and what is natural and all that, you mentioned something about what are we eating? How is it cooked? Is it from an organic farm or a non-organic? How do we know? We just buy this stuff from the market. We know what farms they have been.
How do we know? All right, a couple perspectives. Some items we do our best to get from the village, straight from the farmer. Some items you go to mile 12, you go to the market, and you get it. And you're not sure exactly what has gone through the process. In that scenario, you ought to be a bit careful on how you prepare it. Many of us go to the restaurants and have no knowledge of the kind of soil that food was planted in, what chemicals were used, what condiments were added to it, how long it's been. We just order it and we eat it. Whether it's a mama put or it's a big hotel, fancy restaurant, we don't. And that begins to beg 3 questions. Number 1, the system. How is the system keeping track of what we're putting in? Number 2, who is accountable in the system? And number 3, are there repercussions for those who violate what the system puts in place?
These are very deep questions because these questions would point us at the structure, the structures that we have in place. And I think the issue of the structures itself would make a serial, not possibly something we'll be able to deal with, on a program like this. But I even want to veer off slightly, ever so slightly. There is medicine, okay? And some say that nutrition is the best form of medicine, all right? Can nutrition, therefore, replace medicine?
You've asked about 3 questions. Let's take the first part.
Yes.
Nutrition and medicine. Once upon a time.
Once upon a time?
Well, one and the same. I repeat.
Yes, okay, I get that. I get where you're going now.
I don't.
Yeah. Okay. At the beginning of time,
we ate from the garden.
We ate from the garden. So nutrition was our medicine.
Was medicine. Okay. Okay.
Today, we eat food.
Yes.
That causes us to need
medicine.
Yeah.
Where did the split occur? Those who have returned to food as medicine require very little of this medicine.
Okay.
I'm going to give an example.
Wow.
And maybe later I'll tell you my story of asthma and reversing asthma with nutrition. That's partly spurred my interest to go further beyond being a medical practitioner.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, so in this environment, we have come into contact with a lot of people who are in the position to afford, good food, in quotes. And they not only eat, but they eat very, very well, in quotes. Yet they still suffer ill health. Why is this?
Okay, Steve, key words you mentioned: good food,
Yes.
eating very well, and still suffer ill health.
Yeah.
Let's take it one by one. What is good food?
Yes.
What is good food?
Tell us.
Food that stays closest to the Garden of Eden is good food.
We're back to the garden.
Exactly. The further it strays away from the garden, the less good the food is. Because by then you have to add all kinds of chemicals to it.
Wow.
Preservatives, flavoring, seasonings, and all whatnot. Okay?
So that's good. That answers what is good
What
food.
is good food?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question was
Eating well.
Eating well. What is eating well?
Yeah.
Gave a talk recently at a company here in Lagos, and the company provides meals for its staff. And when you watch them have their lunch, boy, they eat well. It's a mountain of rice.
Oh. Otherwise.
Okay.
You go to a social gathering, and they serve you. It's not like 6-course meal.
Yes.
You've eaten well.
Wow.
Plenty.
And we find that those who can afford to eat well, the more affluent,
Yes.
are coming down with the strangest and weirdest of ailments. My mentors told us many years ago that once upon a time, these diseases that we talk about today very often, diabetes, high blood pressure, asthma, arthritis, memory problems, dementia, even cancer, were known as diseases of Western affluence.
Wow. Okay.
When they were in school in Glasgow and other countries, they could thump their chest. Sorry, microphone. They could thump their chest that high blood pressure and diabetes wasn't on ground in Africa, in Nigeria. They would sweat to find a case of cancer 50, 60 years ago.
Is that really?
We have mentors who are in their 90s today who tell these stories to us.
Maybe they didn't know what it was.
Far from it.
They thought it was something from the village.
We have books written by missionaries, both in West Africa and East Africa, who state that when somebody came to the clinic, by virtue of the ailment they had, you could tell who they worked for. By certain ailments, you knew they worked for the missionaries or the white institutions. Certain ailments, they probably worked on the farm or in their villages. So they knew. Early missionaries knew there was a difference. There's a book written by Weston Price where he looks at dentition, or people who eat natural native diets, and those who eat the Western diet. Huge difference night and day. Please go online and research it. Wow. Weston Price. It's called Nutrition and Physical Degeneration.
So good food is not in volume.
No.
It's not in consistency too. They say
But
3
if
square
I
meals a
walk
day.
on the-
So what is it?
So what is good food?
Yes.
All right, let's look at it medically. Food that has both your macronutrients and lots of your micronutrients. Because the body needs both components to function optimally. For sight, for energy, for digestion, for the heart to beat properly, kidney to function well, for growth, for our bones, for memory function. We need both the macronutrients and the micronutrients. So
Break it down, please.
Okay. Macronutrients, proteins, carbohydrates, oils, and fats. Let's go down even further. Proteins, often we think of meat, but actually there's higher quality proteins in plant-based proteins. From your mushrooms, your beans, your nuts and seeds, and even some of our vegetables have proteins in them, even egusi. Carbohydrates. Let me mention the healthiest ones. There's carbohydrates in our vegetables. There's carbohydrates even in our legumes. The roots, yam, cassava, and of course I love our sweet potatoes. And we have variety here in Nigeria. Yeah. The white, the yellow, and the orange one. Then you come to your grains. most popular one being rice. Unfortunately, we consume the white rice. We should consume the brown, red, or the other colored rice.
Wow.
We have this imported grain that we're totally head over heels over, called wheat. That in the current controversy of the prices going up because of what's happening in the Ukraine, should trigger us to do what? Go and get back to our own native grains, like guinea corn, like millet, guinea corn is sorghum, millet, acha. Instead, somebody's talking about turning some state into the biggest producer of wheat, which is the foreign grain to us. 100 years ago, we were not eating wheat.
Wow.
It's one of the most destructive foods in our metabolic system that we consume. Easily, I'd say 80 to 90% of our patients who have health issues, we take them off wheat. So,
Doctor,
Breaking tables.
you see, doctor, I'm begging to jump in at this point because now I'm beginning to see some of the answers for this next question in what you're saying, and maybe my question will help us to get a better perspective of where we're going now. There's nutrition, or there's the word nutrition, and there's also diet. Okay, most times we use those words quite loosely. We interchange them. Could you put those words in their right places for us?
I prefer the word nutrition.
Okay.
I leave diet for what is on the table. Whether it is plenty, small, hyper-decorated, I leave that. Nutrition is what you put in and how it impacts your body, how it nourishes you, what it does at the level of the cell, to your mitochondria, to your DNA, to your bowel function, to your liver detox function, to your kidney excretory function. That's nutrition, nourishing the body.
Okay. So that's better than diet. All right, so the intake of food, you have enumerated so many functions, what it does to the body. A lot of people recommend that for healthy living, there's need for you to go off food for some time. Fasting, for example. Where does it come in here?
Okay. Let's look at three perspectives. Biblical, experiential,
I hope we're not going back to
scientific.
the garden.
Biblically, fasting was a norm. In every single culture, Islamic culture, Buddhist culture, Christian culture, fasting was a norm. Not only fasting of the body, even fasting of the land.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Scientifically, it allows your body to do what? Take a break. So that
Reset.
it can reset, it can clear some things out that have accumulated, allows you to even drop some weight, which we often accumulate unbeknownst to us. Experientially, it allows us to clear Third Mainland Bridge.
Huh? What's that one?
The traffic.
You stop traffic coming in from Shomolu, from mile 12, from Oshodi. You bring in a ton of lasma to clear the bridge. After which now, the traffic back onto Third Mainland Bridge.
Wow.
But you see, I think some of us are making a meal of fasting. Because before you drop, at the drop of the hat, boom, they're asking you to go, fast for 10 days. What is safe? I mean, for how long can we shut down the Third Mainland
For your health,
Bridge?
yeah.
For how
good
long?
health.
How long and how often should we shut down the Third Mainland?
John, you're right there.
Yeah.
All right. Very individual question, because even with fasting, yes, there's the part that's nutritional, scientific, there's also the spiritual component to it.
Okay.
So there's folks who fast around the Easter season, folks who fast in the
Christmas
Advent season.
and all of that,
The Muslim season have their own fasting schedule. And when you look at those schedules, even the Buddhists have their own schedule. Science is backing up those schedules.
Okay.
Now, we've migrated from the rural areas into the urban arena, where we're eating things that are not really of the Garden of Eden,
Okay.
or far removed, that are more toxic to the body, that give more work to the liver and the kidneys to do. So truly, if you're in that kind of scenario, you ought to fast even a bit more often. Possibly even once a week. Have one day where you just allow Third Mainland Bridge to Clare.
Yeah, maybe this program too will take a fast now.
That's a very interesting perspective
We'll go on a
there.
fast. We'll take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, like we said it here, one life is what we all have. Nutrition and health precedes and enable the fulfillment of that purpose. Now we just got started. Doctor is still here with us. Kindly permit us, like John asked your permission. Okay? So let's take a break so you can breathe. Yeah? Let's take a fast. The show will continue in just a moment. Please join us again.
Yeah. So thanks for staying with us. It's still Today with John and Helen, live on PlusTvAfrica. And of course, it's a talk show completely dedicated to the family. Today, we take a look at that life's essential, your health, and the connection with nutrition. Our guest, Dr. Patrick Ijewere, CEO and founder, the Nutrition Hospital and Wellness Center, is still here. He's seated as we proceed. Now, Dr. Helen,
Yeah.
you jump in.
All right, so very
I'm
quickly,
getting-
because we need to cover a lot of ground and we don't have too much time. So our diet sometimes change drastically, doctor, as we grow older. Now, could you please explain why and how we should manage this, the diet according to the years of our lives?
Yeah, I said he doesn't like, you prefer the word nutrition to
Okay,
diet.
nutrition,
so
diet.
Our nutrition changes as we age.
As we grow older.
So nutrition involves both what is on the table and how the cells respond to it.
Okay.
As we age, the cells respond differently. Our digestive system isn't as, quote unquote, efficient as when we were much younger. We produce less stomach acid. Our enzymes are not as optimal. As systems where we absorb our nutrients are not as key as they were earlier. The natural healthy gut flora we have, bacteria and other microbes in our gut that help us with digestion and absorption, have been damaged over years of eating antibiotics, eating antimalarials, eating hormone pills and all the rest. So they are less competent as we get older. So absolutely, nutrition must change. What we put in because of how the body now responds to it.
Well, I'm sure you won't change my mind. I still do my chocolates. But anyway, what I want to know now, that was supposed to be a secret. But how does nutrition, doctor, how does it affect our genes? Yeah, we talk about,
All right. There are two awesome books I challenge everyone to read. One is called The China Study, or it's called Grain Brain.
Okay.
In Grain Brain, Dr. Perlmutter, the author, he talks about even a Nigerian situation where you had a Nigerian who grew up here and his family siblings who moved across the Atlantic. And within, I think it was 10, 20 years, literally same genetics, one ended up with the diseases of the West, while the one who remained here in this not so urban area was without those ailments. In other books, you find references to twins, Japanese twins from Okinawa. One migrates to California, the other stays in Okinawa, maintains the more traditional diet. 20, 30 years later, healthy, no issues. The one who has moved to California now has high blood pressure and diabetes.
So nutrition does affect our genes.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So diet is always involved in the world's deadliest illnesses: cancer, diabetes, kidney problems, and all the other things that you have mentioned. What is your opinion on this? Now, how do we begin to know what we eat as it relates to how sick we can be or how well we should be, especially referring to these particular illnesses?
He will take you to the garden.
No. Well, you should give me some practical things to run with.
The quick three perspectives.
Yes.
First of all, we must redefine how we understand disease. Number one, God gave us ease, E-A-S-E, the Garden of Eden. Man left the garden, began toying with things, and added D-I-S to ease. Disease. So that's the garden component. Okay? So, secondarily, and allow me to be a bit more global. What we're doing with our knowledge of agriculture is damaging the quality of what the garden has given us. We're putting poisons in the food, herbicides, the pesticides, which are neurotoxic, which are immunotoxic, and we're consuming them. Then we're processing it and adding preservatives and additives. What's a preservative? It's a chemical designed to do what? Ensure that nothing untoward occurs inside the bottle, inside the jar.
Yes.
It makes the environment hostile to microbes. And we now eat the food with the preservatives. The benzoate ends up inside of us and creates an environment that is hostile to microbes. But my goodness, our gut is totally dependent on microbes. Bacteria, fungi, and other microbes.
But our regulatory bodies know all of these things, so they still approve them on our packs. Because I was going to ask you, what really are these additives and preservatives?
And how safe are they?
You know, because they're approved on the packs. We read them.
Can I give two answers?
Yes, please.
A few years ago, we attended an organic conference in Abuja, African Organic Conference. Different countries came and gave their presentation. We were blown out of the ground by the folks from Uganda. They said in, it was 2016 or 15 or 16, that they had exports of organic foods to the EU of almost $30 million. And the following year, they had orders from the EU for organic produce from Uganda of almost $300 million.
Wow.
The same people were buying the chemicals from Nigeria, going to East Africa and buying the organic foods. Who's the fool?
Who is the
Who is the fool? It's called the food industry. It's called the food industry, right?
Yeah.
I've changed that to the fool's industry.
The fools.
And many of our folks in regulation don't have the knowledge. I've been to them, I've argued with them. And one of them actually stopped answering my emails.
Wow.
Okay. At the end of the day, it's looking like whether you stay alive or you die, you know, through what you eat. Because not too many of us have power over what we eat. You know, in quote, we don't farm the product or the produce. But coming from there, let's turn our attention to the vegetarians, back to the Garden of Eden. Would you say it's true that their diet is safer in terms of health? The ones who do vegetables, so to speak, totally.
All right. Allow me to change some of the nomenclature. Instead of vegetarians or vegans, let's just say plant-based. People who eat a lot of heavy on the plant-based foods, whole foods, plant-based nutrition, are generally healthier. They have less health issues. They tend to live longer and tend to be happier emotionally and more stable.
Really?
Studies have been done in classrooms where when you change the food the kids are eating in the US, you take out the junk food and bring in a lot of the healthier Garden of Eden foods, behavior changes, attendance improves, grades go up.
Wow. They're back to nature.
You want to be more productive in the office? Have more plant-based foods in the cafeteria. But it may be difficult to consume because difficult for the staff to consume it because many of us are not used to it. We've been socialized into a meat culture, which is unfortunate. That's only in the last 40 to 50 years. When I grew up, meat was a small piece at the end of the meal.
Yeah.
Rice was only on Sunday.
Yeah, and it was
special
like
occasions.
you couldn't afford it, you were poor. But it was the wisest decision our parents made.
So a bit of social reprogramming needs to occur. Start with the mothers so that they're eating the right thing. When that child comes forward, the child understands vegetables she's been consuming through the umbilical cord of the mother is what they'll have on the table also. We have to reset individually and as a nation.
Doctor, I disagree with you. Doctor, you know why? Because the scenario you're painting for us is an all things being equal scenario. Doctor, we eat on the run, right? I wake up like 5 a.m. I have to quickly get on the road. I have no time. You know, my lifestyle doesn't allow me time, you know, to eat real food.
And that's not John, that's us, a lot of
All
us.
of us, yes. I mean, so please save us.
I'm in this category also.
You are.
Oh, I was.
So welcome to the club.
Because that's the reality.
How do you go around it?
My wife is a nutritionist. Her favorite quotation is "Health is by choice."
Health is by choice.
Yes. So you design systems to allow you to optimize the quality of food that you have.
Okay.
Some of our clients, corporate clients, have allowed us to redesign what they serve in the cafeteria. So that those who come in early in the mornings have a healthier option. The junk option is still there, but there's a healthier option that they can go for. So you can organize the office situation, also organize the home situation. If you have children, my gosh, children learn quickly and they love to make healthy foods once you tune them into it. Whether it's juices, smoothies, salads, you name it. Stir fry, they love to do it once you teach them to do it. Now, health is by choice. I told you I was asthmatic. I had health issues before. At age 11, I was diagnosed with asthma. I was in secondary school, Obalende St. Gregory's College. A lot of times I would miss school, days, sometimes even a week or two. Dr. Kewu at Luth at that time diagnosed it, and I had to go for treatments and treatments. Got worse even after I moved to the US for university education. Till I met a senior colleague in 2006. And she said I needed to change 3 things. Number 1, my mindset. She said, what have you been taught in medical school that these ailments are chronic ailments, asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, cancer, and the like, and you have them until you die. You need to reprogram that. Diseases can be reversed. Number 2, your lifestyle. I ran 5 offices, medical practices in Central Florida. I had a young family. I was active in my church. I was deputy chef in my church also. Barbecue chef. Many nights I got maybe 2-4 hours of sleep. And she said, that's not compatible with wellness. You pay a price for it later. That needs to change now. Number 3, you must change your nutrition, what you eat. Me and Suya were best of friends. Smoked turkey, if I smoke turkey for you with the right hickory wood, you'll be my client. I had to make those changes. It was a hard choice because I loved meat. Every night I ate ice cream. I can give you every flavor of Häagen-Dazs ice cream. That's how much I was hooked to ice cream and cheese. But those were the things that were making me sick. I took her advice 2006. It's been 15 years. I haven't had an asthma attack. I haven't bought an inhaler or bought anything, an antihistamine in 15 years.
It takes a lot of discipline.
It takes discipline. Health is by choice. Yeah. When you have young children who see you laying in bed in the afternoon when you have to be at work and they're worried, why is daddy in bed? Come on, you got to wake up. Health isn't about you anymore.
Okay. There's something you said, John, just a minute. There's something you said a while ago that really, got me. And you talked about the mothers. Yes. This is a family show.
Yes.
If we are what we eat, then what is the role of the mother? How well informed? What should the woman who provides the food, the cook, in the house, what kind of opportunities are there for her? What should she know about and where and how? Because the life, wealth, and all of it of the family, rests in her hands.
Yes. We need to educate all of us, including our daughters. My mother taught me how to cook from age 10. Educating our mothers before they get pregnant is key to reducing illness in the next generation. We're seeing children coming with obesity, with diabetes, teenagers coming in with depression, anxiety, and when we change their nutrition, it clears. We have 5-year-old folks who cannot speak a word of English, so speak a full sentence. By the time we change their nutrition, they're speaking volumes within 3 months. So our mothers, our daughters must be educated. It's not a choice. If you want a healthy nation, we have to go back to the basics, to the family. And also educate the husbands too, because they tend to bring some of the junk home. We have clients, the wives are complaining that the husband still brings in the stuff from Mama Put. Doesn't like the healthy things that she's preparing.
Okay.
Our taste buds need a reset.
Okay.
It's a journey.
Well, I'll just, because we need to wrap up the program now, actually. I just need to add that we need to educate the government. We need to educate our government because the government has to make it easier for us to put those things in place.
And finally, what would be your last words, that would...
I think there's a price we must all pay for our health and wellness. There is a price we must all pay. Either we pay the price up front with healthier choices and wellness behavior, or we will pay the price later when disease shows up or disease worsens. Guess which costs a lot more.
Great.
All right. Thank you so much. So it's back on our tables. It's an individual responsibility. Okay. So if you are one of those who care less about the food that you ate, saying after all, now one thing I will kill man now, you know, that's a general in this part of the world. I hope you have learned a lot from the doctor today and taken a better decision to change that mindset. You are seriously and truthfully what you ate. Thank you so much, doctor. We wish you had more time. All right. It's been such an amazing conversation.
Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
we must have Dr. Ijewere back again to help us look at other things we can do to achieve a healthy and better life.
Yeah.
So thanks for your time. I personally will make some adjustments. The chocolates will be out right away.
All right. So we're committed, and we should be committed to eating to live rather than eating to die, like Doctor said. We move on to other segments of the program. First, for some drill in the gym with our fitness goals, and then the lifestyle and wellness segment with our guide, Pharaoh Shonuga, and Folusho Gbadamosi, who is Executive Director, Junior Achievement Nigeria. Their topic, you and your talent. I love that. See you in a moment.